We're ready, we're rolling, and we're live at Mobile World Congress 2019. Don Dahlmann.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. So how have you liked the show so far?
Oh, it's great. A lot of people, obviously. I don't know how many people attend here, like 80,000 or something. It's like.
So it's actually supposed to be over 100,000, but this year actually feels a lot busier than most.
It was very busy on Monday. It was still busy on Tuesday, but it's also very interesting to see all the different companies lined up for, especially. I think I saw this sign very often that's called 5G or
5G,
so.
I think I've heard of this.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
It's finally a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing last year, but it's a thing now. Really,
so
it's really a thing.
Just to catch everybody up.
Yeah.
Mobile World Congress is the show of 5G. Every telco is now saying that when will they launch their network? Every device manufacturer, like Samsung, LG, ZTE, everybody, is showing off their 5G hardware. Half of the booths are providing IoT 5G infrastructure, it feels like. And we are all just waiting for this future where we can transmit a gig movie in 3 seconds?
1 second.
Yeah.
I think it was one gig movie, 1 second.
It's just 3 seconds, Don.
3 seconds?
Let's just not go crazy here.
Okay. I thought, well, it's a bit slow.
That's sub 6G.
Yeah, sub 6G. 5G plus. Yeah, 5G. So, I mean, a lot of people think, yeah, 5G, nice to have. Like, it's always nice to get quicker. But what kind of stuff you do with it?
So personally, I think that they're marketing it wrong. So they're bringing out all these 5G handsets, and companies like LG launched their V50 now versus September because they needed to have a 5G handset.
Yeah, sure.
Right, but did they need to have a 5G handset? I mean, like it's basically only city rollouts globally, right?
Yeah.
And we're looking at maybe 2023. For most of the real countrywide rollouts where a country will be covered by 90% 5G. So we're still like 4 years away from this being a country reality. So the consumer doesn't need low latency Facebook live streams. The consumer doesn't need to download a 1 gig movie in 3 seconds. They can wait 1 minute for their 1 gig movie, like, you know what I mean? Or 5 minutes even. Like, it's like, to me, it's not necessary for the consumer. It's an industry 4.0 play and smart city.
I mean, it seems to be a thing for gaming. I think, I don't know, I can't remember what booth it was, but somebody showed, I think it was HTC or so. Somebody showed the game. There were actually just only 20 MB of the game on your phone, and the rest was downloaded on the go while you were playing. So that's why I need 5G. On the other hand, Samsung just presented the S10 with 1 terabyte of storage. So you can easily store a lot of games in the future on your phones. So I don't get it why it has to be like in that area, or why we need 5G now. So as a consumer.
As a consumer, you did bring up one thing that I think is really valid. So let's say you're living in rural Namibia, right? You're living in the middle of nowhere, right? And instead of them doing hard lines like fiber to your house, 5G would create the opportunity for you to have landline-like speeds without infrastructure.
So that's what I said about 4G also.
That's what they said about 4G. Yeah, but the consumer play for 4G was that now I can make video calls. 3G, you couldn't do that.
I know.
Right? Like and then YouTube on mobile became a thing. Video streaming became a thing, right? Like 3 to 4G, it really enabled a whole new pattern of consumer behaviors. 4G to 5G enables infrastructure behavior. So, and like those are 2 totally different things.
Yeah, right.
So for me, like you don't agree that mobility is something that needs 5G. I think that it's interesting for smart city to be able to pass the data around, because there's going to be a lot of data from all the sensors. 5G is the network that's going to need to do that. It's more stable, it's on a different frequency, it has less impact from everything else around it.
I'm not disagreeing totally on that, but I mean, okay, cars can communicate with each other and with infrastructure on 4G. That's not a problem. 5G enables the car to transmit the data that it has collected, I mean in the whole, and this is around a terabyte during the day.
Right.
So it can transmit those data to Daimler, Volkswagen, whoever, to the manufacturer, so they have the data and can analyze it, etc., etc. It also can transmit some data to enable cities, for example, to get real flowing data, real life data for the traffic communications and everything. Yeah. So yes, for that it's totally fine. It's interesting that the telecommunications carrier, like everybody's talking about 5Gs and everybody's talking about, but they show games and they show other consumer-orientated stuff, and they're not really like showing a lot business-to-business stuff here on front. So if you talk to them, they say, yes, of course, it's all about B2B. It's all about B2B. We all want to transfer it, like in health care, etc., etc. That's where you need 5G, and I totally agree with that. But they're not showing it in a way. If you go to the smaller booths, you see smaller companies saying, hey, we make here 5G security, blah, blah. And if you talk to some companies where you don't expect that they would deal with it, like we did with Visa, and Visa were like, oh yeah, we are really onto it.
We're all about 5G.
That was so surprising.
It was genuinely surprising because I thought that meeting would be more focused around just like new consumer
blockchain
fintech, or like and like Amazon Go, more like seamless payments around. I did not expect for them to say, okay, 5G enables for us to have on-the-go identity security, right? Because the data for analyzing my face and having my location being verified, for having my device being verified, the proximity of my device, right? The amount of data that you can scale up to have real-life security, they're now looking at implementing into their systems. And what else that I found really interesting is that Visa's approach to enabling new concepts of consumer, what's the word I'm looking for? Just consumer behavior, just general consumer behavior, was really just around having more data.
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, it was so interesting talking to Bill Gadger. He's like the vice president of development and fintech and everything and mobile stuff. And it was so interesting to talk to him because he was like telling us, I never thought about it, that you can have like an identification for your car sharing car on the go. So no identification anymore with your thumb or with your face or with your veins like LG showed up this year. You just approach your car sharing car, and in the background this thing called Visa Direct, or what was it? Visa Direct, it's just checking, is it your phone, is it you, is it behavior that you have, did you order just this car sharing car, etc., etc., and you approach it, and then the car sharing car just magically opens without doing anything. And I found that, and of course you need a lot of data for that, because it's checking like in milliseconds all the time what you're doing. And and I found it very interesting because it's opened up also the opportunity for other companies to use the technology of Visa, because they are, I think they have open APIs for that. So as a company, you can go to Visa and say, hey, we have a business case for this and that. Can we use your open APIs and your technology? And they're going to do that. And I was really surprised that Visa was like so deep into this 5G, and think that this is enabling them also a completely new way of business.
And that a lot of their focus for collaboration was on enabling platform infrastructure. So most of the startups that they're looking to work with, and a lot of the different companies that they're looking to enable have their own ecosystem that Visa's helping to grow. Right? Exactly. And it's so fundamental for how we look at how we interact with things in the future. And it's completely changing, and it's really becoming a lot more challenging when you look at like how everyone is living quite a borderless lifestyle.
And you can see also that even companies like Visa or even Amazon also are becoming more and more platforms. I mean, it's not only, you don't only pay with your credit card and Visa, or you don't only buy your groceries or whatever on Amazon or something. Those companies become platforms enabling other companies to do something. Visa is doing it with the payment systems. Amazon is doing it through Alexa, because Alexa seems to be like a kind of new OS of enabling new things. Because if you are an app developer, I don't care if I shout to my Alexa something. I need this. I need a parking space. I don't care how it.
I don't care how it happens.
I don't care. But there are companies who say, okay, I have an expertise and I know how to use or how to find a parking space for you when you're sitting in your car, and you use Alexa, and you just write a skill for it. Your company name is never on the front page, but you have the skill and you earn on the go or whatever when on the use or something like that. And that's quite interesting. And if 5G is enabling those kind of platforms, selling more business.
Selling more businesses, yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be very interesting.
So let's talk about Amazon for a minute.
Yeah, always.
Always. Maybe 2 or 3.
Maybe 2 or 3.
So I did notice them 4 years from now. AWS was there.
Yeah.
And yesterday, Don and I were actually speaking about why car manufacturers don't view Amazon as a competitor, because fundamentally I didn't quite understand. I had a meeting with Ford yesterday where they were explaining their Sync App Link, or their Sync, which is a collaboration between 6 different automotive manufacturers like Ford and Toyota that you come and develop once. Now, everyone is turning towards Amazon for this instead, right? Like Amazon has become the default automotive manufacturer or automotive platform development tool.
They're starting with Amazon Echo Auto now. They just started in October or so.
Well, so Alexa for cars, she has 140 different requirements that are specific to automotive. I mean, that's only what I last heard at CES. But this is actually what I'm finding very interesting. You don't hear about Alexa at MWC. No. Alexa took over CES. It was Alexa and it was Google. It was those 2 things. And MWC just seems to be predominantly everyone's screaming about 5G and nobody's actually talking. And this is a developer show. Like let's not forget.
Yeah, it is.
Right? MWC caters heavily towards the developer community. Yeah. And we're almost hearing nothing from Amazon and Google at this show. I find that incredibly interesting, that no one's realized that Amazon is a competitor to everybody, and actually everyone should be most afraid of Amazon.
Yeah, I think they missed Amazon as a competition because it's like okay, they're selling whatever, handies or smartphones or whatever. So
they're
like,
just a platform.
They're just a platform. They're selling stuff. They're not competition.
Yeah.
But now they see that especially Alexa and Echo are really a problem for them, because they're coming like these underlying OS that I was talking about, that it's easier for somebody to develop a skill for Alexa that is used by BMW, by Daimler, by Toyota, whoever integrates Alexa. It's easier to do that because you just do it once. And you don't have to develop whatever kind of business you have to other businesses, to other companies. So you just do it once and that's it. That's why Apple worked and Android worked, etc. So I think, of course, you cannot, or the Alexa skills are only for voice recognition, etc. So you can't like put everything on it, but it's a thing, and I think it's a trend going on. And it's funny that Amazon is not really. They're here, I think, with AWS.
Yeah.
I saw them in a small booth, but not like a huge one. It's funny that they're not really here, because I also think that 5G is really a thing for them, because data that they can exchange in retail
is enormous. Like Amazon Go requires 5G. Or like just built-in fiber. Like there's no way around that one.
Right.
Yeah. So 5G, it's a thing. I was actually really offended by Huawei saying sub 6G to me in a briefing. So like when they were telling me about the Fold, the
Mate X.
Mate X. Sorry, wrong brand. The Mate X. They said the speeds on this are sub 6G, and like, I get that building out 5G infrastructure will take a lot of time, and that the industry does need to start preparing very far in advance. But wait till next year to start pitching 6G, honestly.
Yeah, and but the new phone, the Mate X, is a cool one.
It's cool.
It's really cool.
It's really cool.
Had it briefly in my hand. It's cool.
It has revitalized the smartphone category.
Yeah, totally.
Right, so it's brought a new interest on it, and it's what I found really offensive was that the Mate X pitch included sort of a carrier angle saying, you open it up and people are going to stream more video.
Yeah.
We need 5G because we need more streaming video bandwidth, blah, 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 blah. But actually, no, right? People opening up their phones isn't going to increase the number of people binge watching on the go. Because I don't know how many people I see binge watching TV shows on the subway on a cracked iPhone 5.
But if you have the possibility to put it like on the 7-inch, 7.5-inch, or on your cracked whatever. But I think not a lot of people would do it in the next 2 years because it's unbelievably expensive. It's $2,300 and 2,300 euros, and it's not so nobody. I mean, not saying nobody's buying it. I think a lot of people will buy it.
A lot of people will buy it. It'll be sold out.
Because it will be sold out definitely. Because it's making a difference.
It's new.
You can buy for 600 euros. You can buy 2,000 euros. You get the S10 with 1 terabyte of storage.
1,600, yeah.
1,600 or something.
Yeah, 1,600.
You get 1,600 for the iPhone XS Max.
Mm-hmm.
But they're looking like every other phone. It doesn't matter if you have like a 500 euro phone or 400 euro phone, or it doesn't even matter if you have like in case of the Samsung, if you have like the cheap version 700 something or the 600. Nobody sees it. But if you have a foldable phone and you're sitting in a cafe or in the underground or whatever, and suddenly you just like put it out, everybody's like, ah. So it has this effect, and I think this is save the manufacturers the luxury high class thing, because now you have an argument to sell it for a lot of money, because you can say, yeah, you stand out. With an XS Max, yeah, nice to have one, but it doesn't.
Well, we're
do anything.
We're going to start to see foldable phones in the affordable range. I mean, TCL is looking at coming out with a Dragon Hinge. They have one that's thin like a razor, so it folds out to be a long phone, and then they have one that's more like a book. It opens up, and I think that the foldable form factor is definitely going to be one that we're going to see for a little while.
For a while, I think.
For a while.
For some years, I think.
I was originally a little bit negative on it. I was like, oh, maybe it's a gimmick, mostly just because I don't know if I need it. I mean, I want it so badly, but I don't know if I actually need it.
Well, no, you don't need it, but I think I want it.
Yeah, I want it.
I don't need it, but I want it. Yeah.
Right, and so increasing the multitasking and use case scenario for a tablet, I think it's definitely there. However, I still think that smartphones themselves have just become tools. They've become highly commoditized, and I don't see that just because it's foldable that this new form factor will not be a commodity like a regular smartphone is, right? So
I think, on the other hand, the two phones from Samsung, and I think a bit even more from Huawei, because I think it has a tiny better.
It's a bit cooler. It's a bit cooler. Yeah.
I think those were, I mean, including 5G, of course, but I think this was the highlight of the MWC.
I don't know. Can we call 5G a highlight? I mean, only that.
It's on for like years now. But
well, no, but also I think the only reason why we had to talk about it was because I think every 30 seconds there was a 5G sign. Our inbox was overlaid with 5G emails. Like Samsung Germany is coming out with a 5G smartphone, and Germany hasn't even sold the bands yet.
No.
The marketing hype around 5G is inappropriate, offensive, and ridiculous. So we had to talk about it because basically we all have tattoos now.
On our forehead.
On our foreheads, or it's ingrained in our retinas from the amount that we've seen it on the show. So I guess that was our kind of take on this buzzword.
It will be very important for B2B factors and B2B things. Yes, of course, as we said, 5G and creating new business opportunities also. But for consumers, I think it will take a while to let it. And
100%.
One thing that you don't, or better not forget, 5G kills your battery.
Yeah, 5G kills your battery big time. I mean, I think if it wasn't for that Visa meeting kind of saying like, listen, like this is really enabling how our society can interact in the future, how payments can happen. I mean, like the 5G phenomenon is very fundamental, but it's definitely only an enabling technology like blockchain or cryptocurrency. It depends on what people do with it and how they use it.
Exactly.
Right, so we're here waiting to see the potential.
We're going to see it next year.
Hopefully they have real products next year.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was just Don Dahlmann.
Nicole Scott.
Here at Mobile World Congress 2019.
Thank you.